I'm Nick Filardi.
I'm Jason Thielbar.
Welcome to the world's second finest podcast. Today, we're talking Batbooks, which came out February 1996. Also, we have Amazon affiliate links for everything that we're going to talk about today, including for Batman Contagion, which is going to be the bulk of this episode. That has its own standalone trade, so you don't have to hunt. You're not like, oh, I need Shadow of the Bat 47, and then I need Azrael 15. No. Just get the Contagion trade. Or don't get it if you decide upon listening to this that you're like, this sounds like it sucks. I don't know. I'm not you. I don't don't show up to work tomorrow. How about that?
Yeah, don't show up to work, but also get Contagion, even if you think it sucks, because I don't know, people do that sometimes too. They're like,
that's
oh, this
true.
Thing sucks.
People do.
So do that as well. I mean, the options. We're giving people options here is what we're doing.
Yes.
I think.
You can optionally go to work. You can optionally pick up Contagion. Also, you can catch this on youtube.com/Nickfil with a little bit of art. Jason, I have not posted the one that went live yesterday yet. I was still working on it. It was a lot of House of Mystery stuff that I was pulling from different issues, and so it was a little more involved than I necessarily. It might be a little late on that one, but otherwise they're usually posted around Sundays ish. Look, it's free content. It's free content. Don't complain. Stop complaining.
Yeah, once we start making $10,000 a month off of a Patreon, we'll start worrying about
Is that a thing? Is that possible?
Oh,
we gotta hook one whale, Jason. That's the key.
Yeah, that's what we got to go after. If you're a lonely tech billionaire, or even millionaire, you don't have to be a billionaire.
Attention, Dubai. We will take your horrible blood money.
We have no morals.
Batman 528, written by Doug Munch with art by Kelly Jones and John Beatty on inks. Colors by Greg Wright. Steps by Android Images. Todd Klein on letters. Edited by Denny O'Neil with Jordan B. Gorfinkel as associate editor. The issue features a cover without the regular Batman letterhead at the top. Instead, it's a circus banner with Batman chained to the stage at the mercy of Two-Face as the ringleader. It's Two-Face, Part 2, The Schismed Faces. We pick up where we left off. A Gotham standoff in an after-hours circus. Of course that's where we left off. Batman with batarangs, Two-Face with a gun drawn on a Siamese twin hostage, Lockhart the ringmaster with his own gun drawn, the strongman and knife thrower out cold. Eventually, everyone's trying to negotiate their way out of this, but the knife thrower wakes up. He throws a knife at Batman. Batman grabs it midair. All heck's about to break loose now, but the gunplay gets interrupted because a lion gets set free. And this circus lion is going to mess everybody up. Batman squares off against him, preparing to fight a lion, but it's okay. The lion's a coward. He's actually a pretty chill dude.
Yeah. Well, and also he's not a bald eagle, so Batman doesn't really have the bloodlust
exactly
that he usually has for animals.
He meets a clown who saw the original murders that Lockhart, the strongman, and the knife thrower did, and he wants to come forward now. Great. But first, Batman has to deal with the bad guys. He kicks the strongman's butt again. Harvey scoops up the clown while Batman's dealing with that. Batman out-batarangs the knife thrower, pinning him to a wall helplessly. Two-Face has both Lockhart and the Siamese twins held captive at this point. He dresses like the clown in order to trick Batman, who he shoots in the chest. But hey, Kevlar. Before Two-Face can kill anybody else, a third arm emerges from the chest of the Siamese twins, surprising Two-Face, bursts out of the center of his chest like a alien chest buster.
Yeah, like a Deus Ex extra appendage.
Yeah, exactly.
What we got going on here.
It startles Two-Face. Batman's on the scene. He's back on his feet, and he's able to close the fight after all that. With everyone alive and the clown as a witness, Batman is confident in the system of justice doing the rest. The system of justice never gets it wrong. Next issue, Poison Ivy. Jason, what do you think of Batman 528?
I fucking loved it. Like, I think like we were saying in the last episode with Kelly Jones, it's like if you're a writer and like you have Kelly Jones as an artist drawing Batman, you're like, well, we're going to the fucking circus. Like, I'm not like,
we're going to the circus.
Yeah, I'm gonna have Kelly Jones draw as little political intrigue as possible. I want Siamese twins. I want a strong man. I want some weird looking circus owner who's a murderer.
It's funny that you bring that up because I feel like when I talk to people who are trying to break into the industry and have like penciled portfolios and stuff like that, and they think that drawing Batman is going to be like all cape and cowl, like all the way down the line. And it's like, no, man, you'll get page after page of political intrigue with the mayor's race. And it's like, there's a lot of stuff in there that's like not fun to draw, but is part of it for some reason.
Yeah. You gotta be a Kelly Jones type to be able to get the, like, let's give this guy fun stuff to draw.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And
you got to pay some dues, apparently.
Yeah, and I feel like these past couple of issues really delivered. Batman doing his own detective work. He's like hunting down the leads. The only thing that I didn't really like was that in the first issue, he fought the strongman and the knife thrower. And then in this issue, he refights the strongman and the knife thrower. And I'm just like, can we just like do something else? Maybe.
Yeah. The action became like a little small, and the conclusion was a little quick. But I'm just such a sucker for Kelly Jones drawing.
Oh yeah.
Whatever, like the kinds of things he obviously like loves to draw like the most.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. There's a shot in the very beginning where it's the Gotham standoff, two guns and Batman in the middle.
Yeah.
And like anybody else would have like Batman, like chest out, batarangs in hand, like ready to fucking go. And Kelly Jones instead draws him hunched over, all cape, like a creepy little weirdo in the midst of everything.
Oh,
it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. Well, because I think, honestly, I think Kelly Jones has this, like, he has a great understanding of the character in a way that, like, only like a handful of people who've worked on him seem to get, which is that, like, no, it is kind of creepy, the thing that this guy is doing. Like, he's kind of
certainly weird at a minimum.
Yeah, like he's definitely not right in the head, and like it's not like most of the time that just gets played for like easy laughs, because it is easy laughs that he's just like so like dead, like serious, and like all like always super focused and all of that. But it's like, yeah, Kelly Jones really is just, it's like, I think because maybe like he like looks at someone like Batman, it's like, well, I'm a comic book nerd, because how else do you become a comic book artist? And
you start a comic book nerd.
Yeah. And most of my peers who are also comic book nerds are freaky little weirdos. You know, and they get super obsessed about just the weirdest things, and I think that's what this guy is like. Yeah, you know, he just gets, and it puts you off sometimes, you know, and like, but also it just seems like he just enjoys the sort of like late Victorian era sort of thing, you know, and that's kind of exactly what, like, you know, that like that hunch, and like everything's like dark and creepy, and you know, there's steam everywhere, like all that kind of stuff.
I did enjoy in this issue that they covered some ground that we covered in the previous pod, which is that like circuses aren't really a thing and this whole business is failing, but we're all still here doing it.
Yeah, because we got no place else to go.
Yeah, the clown is like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with my life? I'm a clown.
Yeah.
Like, where am I supposed to go from here? An office job? Am I supposed to learn how to code, Jason?
Listen. Does this clown know anything about? Some people call him a villain, but we certainly don't. But there's a masked figure in Gotham who may or may not be dead and has a very strong political ideology. Might be able to help this clown out.
Wait, who is that?
Anarchy.
Oh yeah. Anarchy will take him in for sure.
Yeah. Anarchy will help him out. You know, like
that's my headcanon now is Anarchy and this clown just solving mysteries around town.
Or like Anarchy. Oh God, that, you know what? That would actually be so much fun to write.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, I'm thinking of a different story and it would be kind of track with what like an anarchist would do, but like Anarchy just like running a like a compound / group home, like a syndicalist, like anarchist, just like, you know, farm where like anybody can live and like work.
Sure. And he's just picking up the pieces, like the people that Batman breaks along the way. He's just like scooping them up and putting them to work on the farm, you know?
Yeah. They all happen to mostly be clowns at first, but that's, you know, that changes over time.
It changes when you get Kelly Jones off the book, and then you're no longer at any circuses.
Yeah. All of a sudden you get into Gotham Central and like Greg Rucka, and then it's like a bunch of disgraced cops, and like Anarchy doesn't know what to do.
Behind the desk, like, what the fuck am I going to do with these guys?
he's like, they used to be cops. I don't know if I can accept them, but also I just shit, because God damn it, my ideals are really being put to the test right now. See, this thing writes itself. This thing writes itself. Tom King, I have your next big prestige book.
It's almost like Gotham Central was a rich vein and a deep mine of really great ideas.
Yes.
It's almost like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, before we start Shadow of the Bat 48, this is issue 1 of Contagion, which is a long arc that goes through multiple Bat books. It is about a virus. If you are sensitive to COVID-19, you might not want to really listen to our review of Contagion. You might want to skip the rest of this pod. If you are still with us, welcome. Jason, take us into Shadow 48.
Batman, Shadow of the Bat, number 48. The Shadow Falls On. The Apocalypse Plague. Contagion, Part 1. Alan Grant is the writer. Vince Garano is the penciler. Ray McCarthy, inker. Pamela Rambeau, colorist. Android Images, separating those colors. Bill Oakley is the letterer. Bill Brian Stilfreeze, always with the amazing cover paintings. Jordan B. Gorfunkel, associate editor. Dennis O'Neill, big boy editor. We open in a secret location of the Order of St. Dumas, somewhere in Africa. There's a Quasimodo looking motherfucker smashing some shit around a lab with a gosh darn sledgehammer, and he ain't looking too well. He's all filled with just boils and stuff and bleeding eyes and shit. And some dude in spacesuits with a St. Dumas logo on it, got to respect the branding, come into the room, and they're trying to take him alive. You know, they're like trying to calm him down and take him alive. But this guy ain't having any of this shit. And he smashes one dude straight in the face with a sledgehammer. What's a sledgehammer doing in a lab? Okay. Is he a big Peter Gabriel fan or something? I mean, Peter Gabriel is pretty dope. So, okay. But all right. And during the smashing of one man's face, glass flies and cuts another guy's spacesuit or his clean suit. And this is where we learn that the virus is loose in the lab and he's doomed because this shit is super infectious. So Quasimodo gets shot in the face, even though they wanted to take him alive. The guy who is probably going to die of the virus shoots himself in the head because he doesn't want to deal with this shit. So apparently this is all really bad. And all of this we see is from CCTV camera footage that Jean-Paul Azrael is sharing with Batman and De Robbins with his big old face. up on the screen.
I didn't write Jean-Paul Azrael in any of my setups, and I'm really kicking myself now because this is a perfect opportunity. I thought it, and then I didn't do it, and I apologize to the listener. Whenever I say Azrael, just imagine Jean-Paul Azrael.
The apocalypse, and this is the apocalypse filovirus. I got there. The apocalypse filovirus. The apocalypse filovirus is heading to Gotham, and Azrael doesn't know where. He doesn't know when. He just knows it's soon, and this is going to be bad. Robin's all worried about tracking one man in all of Gotham, and Batman's like, "Shut up, boy! I'll show you how to do some real detective work." And, he tells Tim to start narrowing down the flights coming into Gotham from Africa. Cut to a private jet, presumably flying from Africa. A man on the plane, Mr. Maris, is hacking and sneezing up a storm. Ooh boy, this isn't good. Batman tries to get some help from the police, but it's no use. The new fake commissioner doesn't give a shit, and he goes to hang out with the incumbent Mayor Kroll, who's on his way out. A bunch of dicks. The only other place Batman will find info or the help he needs is a military lab about 50 miles outside of town. Bats is going to bust into the feds. I fucking love it. Hell yeah. So this Mr. Maris asshole is a real super rich asshole, and he's brought to this horrific place called Babylon Towers. Nice touch, Babylon Towers. Real hubris, man. God's not going to strike me down. I read that Bible and I don't believe a word in it. Build the tower higher.
Yeah, build the tower higher.
Babylon Tower is a huge building for the ultra wealthy to live in. It has everything they need: food, shopping malls, anything. It sounds like hell to me, but fine, whatever, rich people. Maris is sneezing all over the place, not even trying to cover his mouth. And I know this is like non-COVID times, but Jesus, man, that's fucking gross. Like just open face, just like
post-COVID, I'm so conscious of everyone sneezing around me at all times now. I don't know if that's trauma or not. It probably is trauma speaking in my brain right then.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Jason, can I tell you a little pandemic story?
Yeah,
real quick.
Yeah,
that it just popped in my head. During the pandemic, before we got a vaccine for COVID-19, and everyone was being careful. Everyone's like washing their Doritos bag in the sink and shit. Like, we all like lost our minds for a second there. I was taking the trash out, and there was 3 kids on a playground to the left of me. And they're all like really close to each other. And at first I'm like, man, that's not safe. And then I hear them go, oh man, you got to smell his breath. And then they lean into each other. And they're just huffing each other's breath. And they're like, oh man, you got to smell his breath. Excellent. Kids
are going to be kids.
Kids are going to be kids. Can't stop them. Can't reason with them.
So Maris gets a call that something has already started. All right, but it's something. But then he says he wants a meeting with the Residents Association. More rich assholes. Cool.
Yep.
Batman literally glides right into this military lab and knocks out these Gomer Pyle assholes toot sweet. Like, he says he doesn't like it, but I think this is a actions speak louder than words situation we got going on here. It's a little bit. He asks a scared but beefy desk clerk where the top research chemist is. Says he's locked himself away and won't let anyone back into the room he's in. Batman thanks this beefcake by knocking him out via a Vulcan nerve pinch. Batman puts on a clean suit over his regular Batman suit, which I always enjoy when Batman double suits.
I thought it was very silly that he was like, because he's in like a hazmat suit, so it's like, his ears are in the hood. It's just very weird.
Yeah, it is fun. And what does he find in this forbidden room? Well, the head research chemist has turned into a quasi. not the band Quasi, who's really quite good, but a Quasimodo. Oh, shucks. And the only way we can get a cure is to find a survivor. But it doesn't look like this guy who's bleeding from his eyes and his body's all twisted around is going to be it. This virus is no joke. We are all just dumb meat. Anyway, back in Babylon Towers, this mayor's jerk-off is telling the other jerk-offs about what's coming. He explains and convinces all the rich assholes to fire all the people that work for them and to send them out into what will sure be a plague-ridden apocalypse while they try to ride it out in their fortress. And that sounds about right of what rich people would do.
That is exactly what rich people would do. Not only that, but like, okay, so he said this, right? And I was like, who is going to maintain your sewers, your grid, your like, who is going to keep you fed? I'm like, you guys are certainly not tilling the fields, you know?
I've never read it and never will read it because like she's terrible and a terrible writer and a terrible human being. But
man, we're hitting on all the topics. You're going Ayn Rand on me.
Yeah. Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. The main character is this guy John Galt, right? And like John Galt is supposed to be this like he's a libertarian ideal, right? He's this like he's an architect. And he moves to some open space in Montana to like get away from all these like bosses and government regulations and like to build the things he wants to build the way he wants to build them, right? And I always thought that that's actually a perfect fucking encapsulation of libertarian and conservative and all those like types of belief systems, because here you have this person who's an architect, right? Architects clearly needed in society. You need people who know how to design buildings that don't fall down, right?
Yeah.
But they are one part of many, many, many people that is needed to build one single small building. And to me, that's a perfect representation of just a petulant fucking child who thinks that like, I did this all. It's like, no, you made the drawing. You didn't cut down the wood and make the lumber and put the fucking lumber together. You didn't dig the foundation. You weren't out there with a shovel. You didn't build shit. But I think like, it is actually a great representation of what rich people, they don't think about that because to them it's just magic.
Yeah.
It's just magic. The sheets, the clean sheets are on the bed when I come back into the room.
It's like when we were talking about when Alfred left Bruce for a while there post Nightfall. And he's like, how do I do laundry? He's like struggling. Meanwhile, Nightwing is like, fucking, I'll do it. Just give me the pile. Like, come on.
Yeah, exactly. But all those rich people think in that way. Like they think they are so obscenely like capable when they don't do anything in their life.
Yeah.
But Robin though finds out like, he figured out where their target will likely be, the Babylon Towers. Good job, Tim. Very good job. And after describing the scene of pestilence that the city is about to see, we close on the now fired workers of Babylon Towers filing out, upset that they've been fired abruptly for apparently no reason. And there's this pilot guy who is flying that jackass Merritt around and he sneezes. Ooh, to be continued. Nick, what'd you think of part 1 of Contagion?
I enjoyed it. I think that Vince Giordano, he did a really great job. It's like very square-jawed, like squared people. Like
he drew the hell out of it. I love the art in this book.
It's got a 90s flair to it, but it's still, there's enough like decent drawing like background in there that it's not just style. It's like, it's very fun. The Batmobile he drew is very fun. The towers are ridiculous. Like, and they're like in the middle of Gotham City and they are like stories tall. And it's like, what? It's 4 towers with walls and they live within them. And the design everything. It just all was like very fun. The rich people were being terrible the entire time. It was just a good time. It was a good time.
Yeah.
A slightly too accurate. You know what it needed, Jason? It needed, I mean, maybe we're not quite there yet in the Contagion storyline, but it needed a series of celebrities singing Imagine. That's what it needed.
Oh, God. That was just...
the most tone deaf, crazy thing you've ever seen.
Well, I mean, again, kind of tying back to just like how far removed these people are, you know, it's like, yeah, it's like this thing where like, I remember at my last job, a guy I worked with who I ended up becoming friends with him. I still talk to him sometimes, you know, shout out to Dwayne. He's a great guy. He's put up with a lot of my shit. But he would sometimes though, and I couldn't convince him that this was different, but like, you know, he kind of moved up and moved on to a different job while I didn't. And, you know, at the company. And I would sometimes try to explain to him like the stresses of like things that were going on now and like how different things were bullshit and blah, blah, blah. Sure. He's like, hey, man. And he would say like, hey, man, like, I get it. He's like, don't forget, like, I used to do this job too. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, you've been away from it for way too long. And it's so different now. I'm like, you have no idea. And I think sometimes, and that's obviously like a parallel, but like, I think sometimes even if someone didn't necessarily grow up with money, like if you've been like pretty wealthy from like the time you were like in your 20s and like you're suddenly getting into your 40s and stuff.
Once you get comfortable, it's tough to remember the feelings of uncomfortability.
Yeah. And then you add on the extra layer of celebrity.
Yeah, right.
Like makes it,
I mean, like
so much.
In all fairness, though, if Gal Gadot did ask me to sing Imagine into my cell phone, I'd do it. I would be in the Imagine video, Jason.
I wouldn't, and please cut this. But
are you going to talk about Gal Gadot's?
Well, just in being in the in support of an go fuck herself forever. Like, I don't fucking give a shit. Like, you're pretty. Good for you.
She's a hot idiot.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, you can cut that part.
We'll cut around that.
We don't need that. I don't need to have that conversation with people.
Fair enough. I'm figuring out where the line is, Jason, and I appreciate that. All right, let's circle the wagons. Get into Contagion 2 with Detective Comics 695, written by Chuck Dixon, pencils by Tommy Lee Edwards. He returns. He was on Shadow before this, but now he's in Detective. Inks by Scott Hanna, colors by Gloria Vasquez, seps by Android Images, letters by John Costanza, edits by Scott Peterson with associate edits from Darren Vincenzo. It's the gray area, and it's Contagion 2. We picked up where we left off from Shadow. Batman escapes the level 4 bug house contamination area. The mop-up crew realizes that the General Derwent is dead from the virus. Batman and Robin suspect Maris is the current carrier of the virus, and they try to go put eyes on him while looking for a lead. He is dying from the virus. Maris reveals that there's one other survivor of the current outbreak, and they might be able to use his blood to make an antiviral. They're locking everything down in Babylon in an effort to protect themselves. Batman and Robin realize that this is too big for them alone and that they need help, but they can't get it from the GPD. Meanwhile, the pilot, who is now walking around, is showing symptoms other than sneezing. Oracle finds the sole survivor of the initial outbreak, Kendall Stewart. But they're in a race against time now. The pilot's family is dying, including their child. The survivor that is somewhere, Kendall is somewhere out in Ontario, and Batman sends Robin to go get him and bring him back, basically. He's counting on him to get the work done quickly while Batman is in Gotham, because the rich have also put a bounty on Kendall Stewart that Gotham's underworld is trying to collect on. So you have bad guys going after Kendall, and you have Robin going after Kendall. Good luck, Tim. We'll see you out there, buddy.
Yeah, good. You go get him, little shaver. You go get him.
Robin breaks into the last known address of Kendall Stewart and finds Catwoman there waiting for him. This is continued in Robin 27. Jason, what do you think of Detective Comics 695?
I've honestly, this like whole time, and like we were talking about before, how I was talking about like when I was finishing up the write up for Shadow last night. Like I had like texted you because I was at a point where I was like, fuck, I don't know if I'm gonna like finish this. So like I texted you like being like, oh, he's still gonna record today or not? And then I was like, oh wow, I only have two. Oh no, okay, this is like this stuff is moving quick. Like I didn't even like and it's like a lot of information, which like I gotta say, like whoever, probably credit to whoever the editor was who was in charge of this whole arc, you know, because it was like one person. Yeah, like man, they're keeping things nice and clear. And
I wish I knew who put this together, because it's an entirely different team every single book, and even different editors.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know who structured this thing. Like that kind of stuff stays within DC editorial. Like they don't talk about that kind of thing. And they shouldn't have to, like no editors are out there taking your victory lap. Like that shouldn't really happen. But yeah, it is. I think because it's a smaller story and not like Nightfall, Knight's Quest, Knight's End, it's a little more manageable. So they got a better hand on it. At least that's my impression. I don't know how many of these smaller events they do. I mean, they did do the Underworld event, but we didn't really get into that a whole lot. And this seems to be contained to just the Bat books. So I assume that the person in charge of it is Denny O'Neil, because I think he's running the Bat office at this point.
Yeah, probably. And I'm sure like most things, it's probably like a mix of people helping out, and like, like how they say like TV writer rooms. They're like, yeah, some person's name might be on an episode, but it's really like however many people are in the room, wrote it. It's just kind of how that like
Denny O'Neil
happens.
Being like, I want to do this kind of story, and then gets on like a phone call with like Chuck Dixon and Alan Grant and everybody who's writing in the Bat House,
and all the other editors like have but man, it's just like I was thinking yesterday, I'm like, well, and today when I was just like kind of like thinking about stuff for the just making sure it's clear in my head and everything, I'm like, I'm like, man, it's a lot of information in all these books that I've read, that I've retained pretty well.
I do agree that Shadow and Detective held a lot of information. However, we are now going to continue into Robin 27, Catwoman 31, and Azrael 15, which is kind of like its own separate little adventure pod thing. Since we don't normally cover these books, and we don't want to make a episode that is like 2 hours long, I'm going to cover them all very quickly right now. And before I start, and I'm not even going to shout out, teams that are working on these or anything. However, I do want to give special mention to Mike Wieringo, who's working on Robin. What a fucking delight and breath of fresh air his work
is.
Oh
my God. His art is always so, I was thinking about it when I was reading it, and I'm like, his art is just always so good. And he has this like, he's always had this wonderful, what I like to call in my head, bouncy quality to his art.
Sure.
Any sort of like, it's kind of weird because like sometimes when I say bouncy, I sometimes mean like animated inspired art, but like sometimes not. And this is kind of like, he very clearly has some like, animation influence, whether I don't know if that's any
Yep.
kind of training he did, because a lot of guys back in the day, especially like went to school for animation, but ended up doing comic books or whatever. But there's just this great, like, I don't know.
There's a
like,
natural energy to everything.
Yeah. And the character designs and the facial expressions are always they're just so on point, and like it's so great for emotional impact and jokes too. Like the timing of jokes is just
it's all there. It all worked really well. Not only that, but man, all of these artists on all of these books can draw a pretty cool Batman. Not all of them cannot draw like what looks like a functional kitchen, and like Mike Wieringo can. Like Wieringo, like all of his sets, like every space looks not only like well designed and well laid out within the frame, like compositionally, but also looks lived in, looks like these characters belong there, like they don't seem foreign, like it all like unites into a cohesive world that I feel like is lacking in a lot of especially 90s books that we're reading, where people like want to draw the cool Batman and then they're like, here's the rest of the kitchen, you know, like that kind of thing.
Backgrounds are hard, man. You know, it's
backgrounds are hard.
It's why comic books are generally made by teams of people if you want them out on any regular kind of basis.
Yeah.
You know? Because you need some help with that.
Speaking of getting this out, let's move on to Contagion 3, 4, and 5 in Robin 27, Catwoman 31, Azrael 15. Hang on to your butts, C-tier Batman fans, because we're gonna move quick. These issues are Contagion 3, 4, and 5. Robin fights Catwoman before teaming up with Catwoman. She wants the reward. Robin wants to save everyone. Tracker starts following Robin and Catwoman. He's also there for money. Batman decides to send Azrael to help Robin, but doesn't let Robin know. It's a quirky, fun surprise because the last time Azrael and Robin get together, he tried to choke the life out of him. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Tim Drake has no trauma. It's all right. He'll be fine.
Meanwhile, the media is stoked about the plague because they're going to get some sick ratings. Montoya's sailor boyfriend gets the plague. Gotham commissioner gets a call from the governor as bureaucracy tries to figure out the plague. They're not doing great. Also, Mike Wieringo drew the commissioner. What's his name? Something Howell or something like that. He's the commissioner for a couple of months, and he's getting fitted for a new uniform that's got like tassels and stuff on it. It like looks super important. Yeah. Very, very nice touch. Mike Wieringo drew the hell out of that scene. Anyway, Catwoman and Robin find Kendall Stewart as they are both ambushed by the Tracker. Then the Tracker is immediately ambushed by Azrael. Everyone fights in one cabin in a very small room. Kendall, admittedly, not too into Robin, Azrael, Catwoman, and Tracker fighting in his very small cabin. So he starts booking it. He starts running. Robin chases after him. And that's when they realize there's masked men on skis with guns trying to come get them as well. Because they're in Toronto, or they're in the Canada wilderness. So, yeah. Oh, let me find my place. Okay.
Lot of guns in the Canada wilderness.
Yeah, right. Everyone fights in the room. Kendall isn't into it. They get ambushed by guys on skis, working for the Order of Saint Dumas. Presumably, we don't know for sure. Catwoman, Azrael, and Tracker fight. Eventually, they stop fighting because Catwoman offers Tracker more money. Everyone but Robin catches up to Kendall, who gets shot dead by one of the ski guys. Before he dies, he reveals that there were two other survivors. Catwoman knocks out Tracker. Robin takes Kendall's blood. Azrael and Catwoman keep the two other survivors' information from Robin. Catwoman wants to cut Robin out. Azrael doesn't want to put him in danger because he felt like an intense guilt about putting him in danger like through all of Nightfall and whatnot. He's like, I really don't want to bring this kid with me. Montoya finds her boyfriend dead. Az and Catwoman go after Leonard, an idiot and a survivor. They decide to like fall asleep in the car for some reason at some point, and then Tracker gets the drop on them because they're asleep in the car on the road. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. His name is Tracker, and they drove a car through the snow. I mean, what are we doing here, guys? They fight, and then they team up again. Leonard thinks that he's invincible because he survived the plague. He's like a Superman. As Cat and Track find him on a huge boat with a lot of goons because he's like a mob guy, I guess. They murder a lot of dudes to get to find him. Then they find him. He insists that they can offer him nothing. Money doesn't matter. Like whatever they bring doesn't matter because he's invincible. And then to prove it, he stabs himself in the chest and dies. Jeez. What did you think of Robin 27, Catwoman 31, and Azrael 15?
All right, I have some notes. I took some notes on the books. Okay.
All right, hit me.
So these are very short notes. But in Robin 27, there's a scene where Batman confronts Penguin and about trying to find the survivor, like for money.
Right. Penguin's really running. I didn't put this in there, but Penguin's really running the contract that the rich people in Babylon are like putting out to find survivors.
Yeah. And Batman is like, he's right to be horrified, but like I thought it was like kind of funny in the sad way that Penguin's acting just like a pharmaceutical company would. Right? Because like, oh, you want to survive? You want to survive this deadly disease, and there might be one way for you to do it, and I might have the means to help you out. Or you're going to pay through the fucking nose, or you're going to die. Oh, other people might die. Can they pay me? No, fuck them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is
pretty much.
Yeah. Batman's just rightfully horrified by that.
Yep.
And it was also really funny when Catwoman had a costume change. She changed into an Arctic costume, and it was just really funny to see Robin get half a chub when she's like just standing over him, be like, "Yeah, you like this new shit, huh?" He's like, "I'll take your silence as a yes, you teenager. You obviously like this new suit."
Also, there's a bunch of stuff happening in Azrael 15 that like I think links to the Azrael stuff at large, where he's talking to a woman in like a purple jumpsuit, but he's standing next to Catwoman in her Arctic jumpsuit, and it looks like Catwoman. And I was like, what the hell's going on right now? And it took me a couple reads over that to realize, oh, he's just chatting with like some girl who's helping him. I guess he's just like checking in. And then Catwoman was like, yeah, he's talking to a girl. I can tell because he's an incel. He's a little pervert over here.
Yeah. Well, because the person he's talking to was like, well, are you still upset over this person kissing me? Well, you had every chance,
Yeah, it was all the kissing drama in Azrael, Agent of the Bat.
Yeah. It's like getting angry that someone asked your crush out when like you've had a crush on the person for like 2 years and you haven't done shit. It's like, well, sorry, man, but like.
Also, great. We're trying to deal with a global plague here. Come on, Azrael, head in the game.
Yeah. Or also at the same time, Azrael, how about like when you're talking to your friend here, be like, I'm trying to like stop like a horrible plague. How about you don't give me this shit right now? All right.
Right.
How about we table this discussion
table the kissing drama for like one fucking issue.
Yeah. Azrael's like, listen, I know I'm an incel, but I'm also trying to like save people too. So like, that's one good part about me. So how about we focus on that part?
Also, I very much enjoyed when Robin and Catwoman got ambushed by Tracker, who was then immediately ambushed by Azrael. And then they're in a cabin. They're in a log cabin made of wood. And Azrael's, well, time to start lighting up all the flames.
Yep.
I gotta start fighting. And I'm like, my dude, you're going to kill everyone in this building.
Yeah. And also you apparently have like, somewhat superhuman strength, know how to fight, and you have giant swords that can come out of the top of your wrists. You don't need the flame right now. Wait till you're
an additional
outside.
flaming sword and an additional flaming sword. Yeah,
it's like I think you're fine with that. But so my only
Azrael's always going extra. Always going extra.
Yes. Yeah. My only other notes were Catwoman, like the book, like being written by a man is like, well, I mean, it's not always bad, right? But and the effort is there, especially for the time. Like I know I'm sort of judging it from like these times, and I guess there's like a larger conversation to have about how and why that is good or bad. Doesn't, you don't have to dismiss it, but like all the like strong female woman character stuff sometimes like, but I will say this, when you said they like, for some reason they decided to stop and take a nap, I wrote down that, hey, listen, Catwoman knows that sleep is important, and I fucking love it when they make her personality traits blatantly cat-like.
I mean, I guess she was like, I'm going to take a cat nap. And she's like, I don't know what you're going to do. An as nap or whatever. She's like, whatever. And then they both just fell asleep in the car. Jason, that moment, I was like, what is happening? Drive to a building. What are we doing? We barely left the crime scene that we've created.
Yeah, no, it was definitely very dumb. It's just that like I gave it a pass because it was Catwoman acting like a cat. Because that's honestly like a cat would be like, well, I just got out of danger. Time to sleep. Like it's just
you're not wrong.
Like
you're not wrong. Yeah. I don't have anything else on Contagion. What'd you think of Contagion in general as the first 5?
I honestly really dug it. I didn't. I'll be honest again. I said I honestly really dug it because like when this was coming up, I was like, oh great, another fucking crossover event
trying to get me to pick up Catwoman and Azrael and whatever.
They gave up on Huntress, the cowards. Yeah, not asking us to care about Huntress anymore. Just when I was about ready to consider caring about Huntress,
It's funny that you brought that up because I did receive a comment on one of our on YouTube about caring about Huntress, about a person who cares about Huntress, and they were like, but in your defense, I didn't start caring about Huntress until Birds of Prey, which it like started in like 2000 or 2001, I believe. So we're not there yet. We still don't care about Huntress.
Okay, so maybe Huntress had a Poison Ivy like makeover.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
You want to get into some Batman and Robin number 5?
Yeah, just dive right in. Batman and Robin Adventures, issue number 5. Ty Templeton is the writer, Tim Harkins the penciler, Rick Burkick inker, Linda Medley holding down those colors, Richard Starkings and Comic Craft holding down the letters, holding them straight down. Darren Vincenzo is the associate editor. Scott Peterson is the big boy editor. Our story is titled Second Banana. Joker is on the loose, and he has a song in his heart. It's a classic song about bananas. I love that song, and I do sing it all the time. I should actually learn more of it than the chorus, but, I'm a fake gamer girl. So
yeah, I only know that, yes, we have no bananas.
We have no bananas today. Joker, with a bundle of nanners in his hand, is stopping in to see an old friend of his. This friend, Daryl, apparently owes him $20 on a bet on who would win the World Series, and Daryl lost. Joker's pretty miffed that he didn't get paid what he's owed. Daryl is scared as hell and figured that Joker is an Arkham and all, and couldn't get the Joker $20, and Joker doesn't give a fuck where he was. Now he's going to murder the guy with bananas. And he even picked the greenest ones for maximum bludgeoning damage, which I really enjoyed. But what stops this banana beatdown? Well, see, during all this conversation these old friends are having getting caught up, we see there's a bunch of computers and TVs around. And there was a TV that was playing when Joker barged his way in. And it was on a commercial at first, but flipped to an interview with a psychologist who works at Arkham, Dr. Richard Sprang. Anyone catch that name, kids? In the middle of the banana beatdown, Dr. Sprang is asked who's the most clever villain he's worked with at Arkham. That's clearly the Riddler, he says. This stops the Joker in his tracks, and he smashes up some of Daryl's stuff, giving Daryl a chance to wisely get the fuck out through the window.
Yeah.
So the Joker left alone with all of Daryl's computer stuff, he figures he can hack into any computer from here. Sure, why not? First things first, gotta take care of who's the most clever, colorful cut-up in Arkham. Joker sends a message out on what appears to be Gotham's legally distinct version of Times Square news ticker with a riddle. What enigmatic Arkham inmate is going to die at midnight tonight? Hint, hint. I'll be riddled with guilt about it. Signed, the Joker. Very subtle.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Dick relays all of this to Batman as he's in the legally distinct Times Square right now for whatever reason. Probably there to see a peep show. Rest in peace, Joe Matt. Off to Arkham we go. Gordon has got Bullock outside, locking shit down. Ain't nothing getting past that beautiful dirtbag. Inside, Gordon, Batman, Robin, and the Riddler, and a guard are all standing sentry around, just kind of waiting. Don't know what's going to happen. They're trying to keep Riddler safe. Just at that moment, all the doors to the cells are opened up. The guard gets a signal. He's like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. Batman figures the Joker must have hacked in somehow. Good job, detective. But now there's someone outside the door screaming for help, and they're wondering, should we let him in? I don't know. And Batman asks to look at the security camera, and it's the Scarecrow and some big galoot who's aiming to put a hurt on him. Batman tells the guard to open the door, makes quick work out of the galoot, just beats the crap out of him. Which is like, I think that's my superpower that I want. I want to be able to just kind of beat the crap out of anyone I can at a moment's notice. I think that's like an undersold superpower that Batman has.
By the way, the big galoot is Lockup. We got 2 lockups right in a row. Last Bat Pod, Lockup was the one who picked up a weed whacker out of the pond. And he was in his costume then, but he's not now. Lockup's like whole thing is like he just wants to put people away forever for like minor infractions. He's lost his mind. He's totally black and white true believer in the prison system for everyone. And that's why Batman puts him away.
Oh, all right. I didn't realize. I mean, I imagined he was someone. I missed that was Lockup. Yeah. And now we find out, though, that this whole thing, that Riddler being in danger was a ruse. Joker only needed Batman and Robin distracted so he could deliver a box of exploding cigars, which is a nice touch, to Dr. Sprang's house. That'll teach that egghead who's the cleverest. Joker flies to a rooftop. After this, Joker flies to a rooftop on a personally branded hot air balloon. And he's loaded up with plantains this time. This man is serious and he's ready to get down to some serious business. He doesn't really care for the taste of them very much, though. Thinks they taste kind of like cardboard. Takes one bite and just like tosses one over his shoulder. Wait a minute.
Have you had plantains? Have you had raw plantains?
I've not had raw plantains. I had fried plantains are fucking dope as shit.
Yes, yes.
I've had cooked plantains in various form.
I've never had them raw, and I wonder if like you need to cook them because he eats one and he's disgusted.
Yeah. I kind of think you need to. I really think you need to. Yeah. But so let's see. Yeah. So wait a minute. I'm seeing some cells. This madman broke back into Gotham. This madman broke back into Arkham. Apparently, he actually really did mean to kill the Riddler. And now he's there to make good on his promise. Tropical style. Just like Jimmy Buffett would have wanted it. R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Of course, it's a trap. Batson Robs knows he'd be coming here, and a glass door slams shut behind him. Joker pulls out a comically large pistol and blasts his way out. Robin tries to stop him, gets hit with some funny gas, and can't stop laughing. Batman tries to keep him calm, but Dick, ever the soldier, tells him to go catch up with that creep. Batman makes his way to the roof, only to get clobbered with a golf swing from Joker's comically large pistol. I told you it was comically large. I'm not making shit up, all right?
It's like like 4 feet long. Yeah. It would put, in the Batman movie 89, where the Joker takes out the comically large gun to shoot down the Batplane. I think that's what's going on. This gun that was drawn seemed to be a direct challenge to that gun. Like that gun was like 3 feet long and this one's 4 feet.
Yeah. Reminds me of that. And I know I've mentioned it before, but of Grant Morrison's plan. If they had gotten to do X-Men after their run, like if they had gotten like another contract or whatever. And because he was like, they were like, the X-Men movies were just starting to come out, and they were like the movie technology just caught up to like what comic books could do. And so I wanted to write a story that challenged that, be like, oh, you want to adapt this shit? We'll have fun.
I wish the industry had that mentality to it these days.
Yeah. Which I look at that gun and I'm like, all right, Tim Burton, what do you got left?
Yeah, only in comics. Yeah.
Well, the force of this comically large gun knocks Batman off the roof, and now he's holding on by his little fingertips while the Joker villain monologues about he's going to kill him and get away with it, as they do. Well, he won't get away with it. Sorry. Well, he won't get away from being a slob because this asshole just slipped on a plantain peel. Falling off the roof, Batman catches him. And while he's holding him there, the Joker asks him why he saved him. And Batman, quoting something Joker had said earlier, because I play by my own rules. Nice, Batman. Nice. Nick,
before we get into what I thought of it, can I read the stinger for the next issue?
Oh, yes.
Next issue, Robin fired already? But who could possibly replace him? Find out in 30 as Ty, Rick, Linda, and Rich bring you Batman and Robin Adventures #6. See you then.
Oh, maybe a Batgirl?
Maybe. Mm-hmm. So I have mixed feelings about this issue because it is drawn in a way that's extremely Looney Tunes, which, like, on the one hand, I kind of liked. And on the other hand, I was kind of like, man, I miss Batman Gotham Adventures. Like, those books played it so straight. And this one is like, we're making a wacky time. And I'm like, and like, it worked for me in points. Like when he took out the giant gun, I was like, oh, hell yeah. That's why we're doing this. That's why this looks this way. But when it's like, oh yeah, we're trying to protect the Riddler, and like he opened up all the cells and the inmates are going wild. I'm like, this art style does not lend itself to like high drama and action.
There was a lot of that happened off screen.
Yeah, yeah. My other thought with all of these like wacky kind of Looney Tunes-esque drawings that are in here is that while everybody looks off model, the only two people who are on model the entire time are Bullock and the commissioner. And I think it's because they already have such exaggerated features. This artist like got in here and was like, well, I guess I'll just draw this guy. Like they're like, it's fine. He's already done.
Yeah. The one panel Bullock appears in, it's a huge panel and he takes up a lot of space.
Yeah. And he looks completely on model. Like nailed it. Yeah. So I had a lot of like mixed feelings about Tim Harkins penciling this, but I think it was overall enjoyable for a single issue. I hope this isn't the new direction of the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think I liked it more than you. I think like kind of going back to what we always say about Kelly Jones, that like, obviously like, oh, I got this artist. Cool. I'll make just a super wacky, super cartoony story because this will fit what this guy does best. And I'm not going to make him draw a bunch of like, I'm not going to make a rogues gallery story where there's like 8 different villains.
It's not going to get grim
like
dark.
Like,
Yeah.
Or even like, or even an adventure book story like the old series used to go into it's like, I'm not going to make you draw Tintin, man. It's fine. Like, it's not going to, it's like when someone tries to play power chords on an acoustic guitar, right? Is that like it can kind of work sometimes in like a folk punky kind of way, or for like a one-off thing. But like for the most part, it's like, dude, you need to be electric for that. You should be maybe like there's a bunch of other things you can play on this, And so like I think it's kind of like that. It's like there's a bunch of stuff that this style of art can do, and he could do an adventure story. It would probably work. I'm sure he could figure it out. But it's like the best suited for 4-foot long pistol.
You're right. Exactly.
And also, personalized hot air balloon.
Personalized hot air balloon slipping out a banana peel to fall off the building. It's all wacky antics.
Yeah. It's totally Merry Melodies, Looney Tunes.
My other thought was, I cannot believe that somebody made a bet on a sports game with the Joker. I was like, that's insane. But then I was like, I've met sports fans and I've met some true believers. And I could totally see that if Joker walked into a bar and was like, $20 on this, like this team, somebody'd be like, you're fucking on.
a little behind the scenes thing. Well, not behind the scenes, but like just like how shit works in my dumb head. When I was writing it out, and I was like, the Joker's looking to be paid what he's owed. Anytime someone like owes someone anything, I always think of the Christmas episode of Boondocks where Riley is wanting to get after Santa to pay what he fucking owes. You're gonna pay what you owe, Santa. And beats up a mall Santa because he thinks he's got jilted on Christmas presents over the years.
Oh man.
And it's like you're gonna pay what you fucking owe. You're gonna pay what you owe, fat man. Which, like, I say that to my cat all the time. Yeah.
The only thing that comes to mind as far as paying what you owe is that damn John Cusack movie with the kid, the paper boy who's like,
Better Off Dead?
$2. Yeah.
Better Off Dead.
$2.
I freaking love Better Off Dead. Some stuff in it doesn't age super well, but not as poorly as some other movies do. But there are some things in Better Off Dead where you're like, oh yeah, this was made in the 80s.
Oh, I haven't watched it recently at all. The last time I probably watched it was 15, 20 years ago. But Yeah, I remember it being very, very good. And
Yeah,
I want my $2 is like
Yeah.
etched into my brain.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, $2. Yeah, and there's a great scene where he's like up on a hill and like, there's like a long shadow cast down and like it's all dark and he's like $2, just a menacing figure.
The Joker very much has that energy in this.
And as a former paperboy myself, fucking give me my $2, god damn it. You don't fuck with a newsie, okay?
Yeah,
Headlines don't sell papes, newsies sell papes.
Oh my god. We can't keep going back to newsies, Jason.
Why not? It's the only
we've talked about this before, right? Like when I moved to Philadelphia, for some reason, in the group of people that I fell in with, like half of them just talked about newsies all the fucking time. And I was like, I had never seen Newsies. And I was like, what the hell are you guys talking about? And they're like, oh, we should watch Newsies. And I'm like, no, I'm putting my foot down.
I love Newsies for this one reason. Do I love Newsies? Okay. Anything else about it? I probably saw it once when I was a kid, haven't watched it since.
Sure.
But it's a classic musical. The movie was made by Disney, right? Mm-hmm. The movie itself, though, the story of it, the whole point of the story, it is radically pro-union.
Wow.
And Disney funded and distributed this movie, but it's about kids selling papers in the 30s who start to organize so they can not get treated like shit. It's totally, so like I'll always have a special place in my heart for Newsies.
Sure. Is there any other last thoughts on Batman and Robin Adventures issue 5?
No, I think we both kind of hit it pretty well. I just kind of
sure.
But I do agree with you. It's the style is good and fun. I just kind of hope that it's not like the rest of the series.
Yeah, I hope we're not going to live here for 10 more issues. It was a good one-off. I enjoyed it. Let's bag and board it, put it away.
Yeah.
What do you think the best issue of the month was? And we read more than our usual amount because we read Robin, Azrael, and Catwoman.
Yeah, I'm gonna. The Robin's kind of edging it out a little bit, mostly because of Mike Wieringo's art. I
was going to say the same shit. Mike Wieringo was such a breath of fresh air, man.
Yeah, it's almost getting me to read the book just for his art, but I also know that like, oh, you know what? Maybe I will just for that.
You read a little bit of Robin already, didn't you? Because I remember you saying that you were like, Mike Wieringo's on this and he's doing a great job.
Yeah, when we started the new series, when we started the new volume, I had read like a little bit because you have them all in our in the list, like the extra books that you put in there, and I was like, oh, at the start, I'm like, I'll check out Robin for a bit. I'm like, maybe this will be a fun thing to like bring to the show every once in a while, and maybe I will. Maybe I'll start doing that like I don't know any regular basis, but like. Just for Mike Wieringo's art, man, it's just so much fun. It's just like, and I know that like, and I think I mentioned this about, I don't know about what artist on the last pod, but like, it's so much fun to see artwork that like, I know the work that goes into it, right? Like the actual honest, like hard work that goes into just making a page, to say nothing of like getting to a point where DC's even going to freaking hire you.
Sure, yeah.
But it's always so great to me to like see an artist page after page being like, this person's having a lot of fun drawing. It's like, it just like Mike, comes through. Like it just comes through.
Definitely that, like, has that energy to it for sure. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So like, I can't like, it's like a, it's like when you see someone in high school, or you probably even saw more of it at SCAD, where you can like a person can just take like the most chisel tip marker and just make shit that like has like different line weights somehow, like just like bust it out, you know, like
have you ever seen
has that kind of feeling, you know?
Speaking of, have you ever seen Jock draw?
I've not seen it, no.
Because like I watched a few videos and he's using, for a lot of his mark making, he's using like just a like the biggest fucking Sharpie he can fucking find and chisel tip and just like very quickly move over the page. And I was like, man, that looks easy. I'm gonna draw like Jock. And then I tried it and I was like, this is actually very, very hard. I was like, I'm not as good as Jock.
yeah. It's like I forget the artist now, but I read this thing where this Japanese artist, like it was like an autobio story, and like he wrote the scene about the first time he met Osamu Tezuka, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like of course like how nervous he was and everything, and how
Sure.
you know, and he's like, and essentially the story was like, he was like, and we're just sitting there. And this motherfucker takes a blank sheet of paper and just starts drawing with a pen right in the middle of it. And there's just like immaculate Astro Boy. And then this whole scene unfurls throughout the whole page that just like no guidelines, no nothing, no, and just everything just like perfect, all set in there. Like no, and he was just like sitting there like, oh yeah, that's why he's him.
That's
you know?
why he's him. Yeah.
Because just whoop, 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 like,
oh man,
what's your favorite book? Robin?
It was probably a toss up between Robin and Batman. Kelly Jones, always good. Kelly Jones in a circus, even better. You know,
yeah, kind of hard to win against Kelly Jones in a circus. That's like, you know. That's like in the next lane, Michael Phelps, and you're like, great. I get to race against this asshole. Awesome. Sorry.
Same quality as the Robin issue. Very different artist, Mike Ringo and Kelly Jones, but same quality. Like you can tell that just Kelly Jones just having a fucking ball out there, you know?
Oh yeah, just having a good time.
Yeah, so probably a toss up between the two. And I thought that Contagion was a little better than I was expecting in general.
Yeah, it definitely was. It didn't blow me away, but like I said, it was like a whole lot of information that they crammed into like every book. But it was that stuff is so easy to get muddied, you know,
mm-hmm.
or to get like. Or like sometimes writers will feel like having characters repeat things a few times, you know, if someone didn't catch it, but there wasn't really a lot like of that, or like the repetition was like spaced out enough.
It moved quick.
Yeah. So like, Contagion overall, man, so far.
Good month of Batbooks in general.
Yeah.
Jason, Nick, where can people find you?
They can find me still on Twitter at King of Black Acid, also on Blue Sky at King Black Acid. Still haven't posted anything over there yet. Got to get into it a bit more. Twitter's just getting kind of even just boring at this point. But also, World's Second Finest on Twitter.com.
Yep.
World's Second with the 2. That's the show. Account where we
in fact I don't know if the Batman episode that we just recorded is going to be late or not, because I have a comic convention this weekend. Usually I do all my editing and stuff on Fridays, Saturdays, and get the pod out for Sunday, but I'm clearly not going to be able to do that because I will be at Asheville Beer City Comic Con. So those delays, if you're like, where's the episode? like, is it coming? I don't know. If you're like, this is all I can think about. I'm weirdly manic about this, and I'm trying to get professional help, but like I really just need to know where the episode is. You can find it at World's Second Finest Twitter. I always post up there if I'm running late on anything, really.
Yeah, I'll post that like Nick's stuck in a bear trap,
Yep.
or something like that, which will likely be true. You know how like
most of the time
violent comic book conventions can get.
Yeah, most of the time it's not a bear trap. Most of the time I'm just like head and like 1.5 shoulders into a big pot of honey.
Yeah,
with wearing no pants.
You do love you do love hunting for honey pantsless.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's
Jason,
weird, but you're not hurting anyone when you do it.
Specific, very niche hobbies that really just light my fire.
r/pantsless honey. You've just been
you can find me at linktree.com/Nickfil. You can find all relevant links up there, including the Discord where you can come and hang out and talk comic books. I'm on there pretty much every time I'm in the chair, so regular work days, definitely. Boyks, Cam, and Chops and I are about to do, we're about to try an archipelago this week. I know that you're not able to hear it live because it's going to happen before this episode goes live, but you can see it on my Twitch. Let me explain to you what archipelago is just real quick. It is a randomizer amongst a bunch of different games. So I'll be playing A Link to the Past. Boyks will be playing Pokemon Red. And both of those games will be connected. So Boyks will find the fire rod from The Legend of Zelda in like the bushes, and it will send it to my game. And I will find like a master ball and send it to his game. And so they're interconnected and randomized. Like every item is in a different place, and then they're all scattered across multiple games. And so we're going to do 4 games. It's going to be buck wild. I'm really looking forward to it. It's hell to set up, but we're gonna do it. And you can find that at twitch.tv/Nickfil. And then once the VOD leaves there, it will be on the YouTube forever. So check it out.
Nice. I will check that out.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.